Hey guys, Chris here from Fastlane Academy, and today I am going to do a review of the two biggest Amazon seller software suite tools that are out there, which is Helium 10 and Jungle Scout. They are pretty much the only go-to software tools for Amazon sellers. I'd probably venture to say that 90% of Amazon sellers are using at least one of these two tools, if not both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you under the hood. We're going to look at both of them because each of them have some features that are exclusive to their suite. And so I'm going to show you what those are. We're going to run through some examples, and I'm also going to show you the pricing difference because there's a pricing difference between the two of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Jungle Scout right here, because they actually have the least amount of features, but they're priced a little lower. So let's go ahead and run through that real quick. And so what I'm going to start with here is the product database. And to be quite honest, both software suites have this product database, and they both pretty much work the same. Helium 10, theirs is called Black Box, and you can put the same parameters in. Basically, you can just go in here and customize a search based on all kind of parameters, and I'm not going to get into all of these things. If you want to know how all these work in depth, I have another video that's both on my YouTube channel and on our website. That's how to find six-figure products on Amazon. So look that up and we'll show you how to do that, and we actually uncover live some six-figure products, so you might want to check that out. So anyway, they both pretty much work the same, and what they do is you just put some categories in, and you can put as keyword if you want, and these parameters, and it just returns a list of products, and it gives you all kind of information as far as what their reviews rank, sellers, all this good stuff. And then right here it gives you the estimated sales per month, and what this is they take the bestseller rank, the BSR that the product has, and they match it to the category, and they kind of come up with a guess on what the estimated sales are. And in most cases they're actually not too far off. So like I said, both of them work great. However, what I wanted to do was I wanted to actually put these to the test, because you never really know what's accurate, and you'll hear people argue on both sides, hey, Jungle Scout's better, Helium 10's better, they're more accurate, but how do you know if they really are? Because these are just estimates. So what I did was I actually went in here and I took 3 of the products that we sell on Amazon, and I took my last 30-day sales, and I plugged those products in here, and I compared what each software tool said the estimated sales were to my actual sales. And let me show you the results of what happened. Now, like I said, I did 3, and the first 2 were pretty much a wash. Honestly, both tools came up. One was a little over and one was a little under, but they were all, they were only probably maybe 20-25 units off, which is, for 30 days, that's pretty good, man. That's almost dead on. So for the first 2, I call it a wash, but for the third product, it was quite different. So here's what I had is Helium 10 said that my third product was selling around 323 units a month, and Jungle Scout said they were selling around 215 units a month. And our actual sales right here, I actually took this screenshot from our Seller Central report, and we sold 363. So Helium 10 was way more accurate on the third product. So could have been a fluke, but in my opinion, Helium 10 was dead on. All 3, they were 3 for 3, and Jungle Scout was 2 for 3 in this particular case. So I think Helium 10 is probably a little more accurate on that. So I'd kind of give them the win on that one. So the next thing that Jungle Scout has is they have a product tracker, and the way the product tracker works is this particular feature is pretty much outdated, and the reason why is because what it does is it uses the old, what's called the 999 method. Now this came out many years ago. What happened was somebody figured out how to kind of game the system a little bit and figure out how many units some people were selling on Amazon. And here's how they did it. Basically, they go to Amazon and they would, let's say we were in the pool floats, and you're like, what, I want to see how many these guys are selling. So they would go here, and then they would add it to their cart, okay, and then come on Amazon, you can do it. They would add it to the cart, and then once it was added to the cart, what they would do is they would go to their cart. Actually, I already did this for an earlier video that crapped out on me. So anyway, and then what they would do is they go here to the quantity and they do 10 plus. Now, Amazon won't let you do more than 1,000 units. They won't let you add more than 1,000 to your cart. So what you do is they put in 999 and they would hit update. And a few things would happen. So the first thing that could happen is that the person, the seller is actually stocking more than 999, which is the case here. So in this case, it wouldn't work. They'd have to be stocking less than 999. Also, this method would not work if they were not FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. So if it was fulfilled by merchant, this didn't work either, because Amazon tracked their inventory. Fulfilled by merchant, they tracked their own, so it didn't work. And then the last thing is, let me show you another example. Here's what happened, and here's why this particular feature is almost useless, because I would say it might work 10% of the time, if that, but it's going to fail 90% of the time. And here's why. Most Amazons have caught on to this. And here's a tip for you. If you do sell, go in and set your max order quantity to, something less than 10, and it'll fix that, problem right there. And then, so let's just say that we want to do this vitamin C serum right here. And what happened was, Amazon sellers caught on to it. They put, hey, you can't order more than 10. And so that kind of made that not useful anymore. But before that happened, it was very effective because nobody knew about it, and most people did not stock more than 1,000 units. So well, let me show you this, and then I'll tell you how it worked. Actually, they let us do it. So let me show you one more example of most savvy Amazon sellers. I'm very surprised that they didn't, because vitamin C serum is like one of the most competitive things on the market. Definitely never try to source this product, by the way, but I'm very surprised that somebody in the top 5 has not put that quantity on. So I can almost guarantee you that if we try one more time, this person, yep, so there you go. This seller has a limit of 3 per customer. So most of the time this is what happens, or they're stocking more than 999 and it doesn't work. Now, if it did work, what would happen is it would say, hey, you can't buy more than 180 because that's all they have. And so what that product tracker would do is it would go to the page every single day, and it would do that 999, and then it would add, 999, and it would figure out what it was. So it would say, okay, they got 150 in stock, so it would record it. Then it would go the next day, and it would do it again, and then it would record it, and it'd give you a graph so you could see, okay, they had 150 this day and 120 the next day, so that means they sold 30 a day. And it was really great until everybody kind of caught on to it and nixed it. And like I said, this only works about 10% of the time, if that, so it's pretty much useless. And now they're so close to accurate with their estimates just based on BSR and category that you really don't need this anymore. So you don't need to waste your time on it. But it is exclusive to Jungle Scout, and if you're interested in something that works 10% of the time, then there you go. But the next thing is the niche hunter. And what that is that's where you can kind of go in and put in a category and a keyword, and what it'll do is it'll pull up a whole bunch of products and give you kind of their average units sold based on that BSR we were just talking about. It gives you a competition level, and they have their own algorithm here of opportunity score and LQS that kind of tells you whether it's something good to go after. And I don't have a lot of experience in this, so I'm not gonna knock it. But what I would say is I would never trust a general algorithm to determine my financial future. So I would, when you're picking products, a lot of research and human reasoning has to come into play when you're doing that. So, I would never trust that to, just some kind of algorithm. So, in my opinion, I just I don't see any value in these two, products here. So that's kind of where we're at with that. So this is so product research. They have the database. Helium 10 has pretty much the same database. Helium 10 was more accurate in the real case study that we did. Product tracker, like I said, a niche hunter. In my opinion, they're not really valuable, but you can make your own decision based on that. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next tool that Jungle Scout has that Helium 10 does not have is this Find supplier database. This is a relatively new feature that they came out with recently, and what is problematic here that I see they definitely have some work to do on this. I just put in a general keyword of bass lures, and what happened was it came back with all of these companies that do plastic, rubber, chemicals, textiles, dyes, and pigments. None of these companies supply bass lures, so at this point, this tool is not very helpful. So, what you'd want to do anyway, there's a lot of sourcing websites you can just go to, like Alibaba, and just drop that keyword in, and it'll give you a ton of suppliers with pictures and ratings and all that. So that's definitely the route you would want to go. So, once again, I don't see where this feature is very helpful. So let's move on to the next one, which is the keyword tool. Okay, so with the keyword tool, both of the suites, Jungle Scout and Helium 10, have a keyword tool. Jungle Scout's is called Keyword Scout, and you just plug that in, and there we go. And you can do a search like I did here, and it gives you all this information. And these are pretty much, both of these are pretty even. Helium 10's is called Magnet, and it pulls up some information. It does give you a little bit of different information. Like Jungle Scout has the PPC bids in here, and that algorithm I was telling you about earlier that kind of gives a guess on how easy it is to rank. And what I like here about Helium 10 is that they have the sponsored ASIN. So what that tells you is how many products are running ads for these keywords. And that is extremely helpful because, if you were going to source this product, you'd want to run through here, and here's a bunch of keywords that nobody's running ads on. And then, as you go down the list, you see this one that, 249 people are bidding on this particular keyword. So that might be one that, you have to stay away from because it may be too competitive. So this is nice, allows you to get a lot of good information. Everything else is pretty much the same. So like I said, each of these has one thing that the other one doesn't. So I'd call them pretty even on the keyword tool. And then they allow you to build a list here of keywords. So does the magnet tool does the same thing. You can put your list together. And so same thing with the listing builder. What this does is it allows you to go in and create a product listing. And Helium 10, has the same thing, which is their Scribbles tool. And oh, come on. I got a Chrome extension in here that constantly messes things up. Need to get rid of that. Anyway, this is a Scribbles tool, so it allows you to do your title, bullet points, and all that good stuff. So both of them have those listing builders. So, at this point so far, they're pretty even on all of this stuff. So let's move on to the next one, which is the training section. Jungle Scout has their academy, and Helium 10 has the same thing. They have a ton of videos, especially on their YouTube channel. And I think Jungle Scout has a good YouTube channel as well. Both of them have some good trainings in there. Helium 10 seems to have a little bit more thorough, in-depth trainings. But both of them are great resources, so they're pretty even there. And the next tool that we have here is they have a launch service where you can launch your product when you're doing promotions. And you're trying to get ranked, you have to do promotions and discounts typically. To do that, and in order to do that, you have to hire a launch service, and Jungle Scout has their own. You do have to pay extra for it, so I don't really see where it's any advantage because you have to pay extra and you can pay other launch services. So I haven't tried there, so I don't know if it's any good or not, but most of them pretty much work in the similar fashion where they're just trying to get, they have a big email list and that they send out with your discount, and then get a bunch of customers to buy it, and that gets you ranked. So that is kind of nice to have in here, I guess, but I'm not sure how effective it is, and you do have to pay extra. So to me, it's not, definitely not something to base your decision on, because you can get this outside of this tool. And so that is really it for Jungle Scout. That pretty much covers all of the products that they have in their suite. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump over to Helium 10 now, and let's go over the ones that Helium 10 has that Jungle Scout doesn't, because Helium 10 is a little bit more, costs you a little bit more per month, but they do offer quite a bit more. So let's go take a look at that. Okay, so the first tool that Helium 10 offers that Jungle Scout does not is the Trendster tool, and let me show you why this is such a huge tool that could end up saving you thousands of dollars in mistakes made. And I say that from experience, because had I had this tool a couple of years ago, I would not have made some of the mistakes that I did, which did cost me several $1,000s. So in my opinion, this tool right here is invaluable, and let me show you why. So let's run through an example. Let's go back to pool floats again, even though, like I said, you should never sell anything seasonal. But let's just say that you wanted to go after this product, and you went and tried to source it, got your information, and did the math, and after everything's said and done, Amazon fees, costs out the door, you could sell this for $14. And you see, hey, I can sell it for 20, or I'm sorry, my cost is 14. I can sell it for 20. I can make $6 a piece, and based on this BSR, these guys are doing pretty good. So, I could really make a lot of money with this product. But what you don't know is you don't know if this is the price that they always sell it at, or is this a temporary price hike. And this is why, because when sellers are running low on inventory and we project that we are going to sell out before we can get restocked, typically what we do is we will raise our price to slow down sales, because slowing down sales is much better than running out. Because if you run out of inventory, then you lose your rankings on your key for all the keywords that you worked so hard and spent so much money trying to build. Amazon kind of kicks you out of that algorithm when you run out for a long period of time. Like, you can be out for a couple of days and you're okay, but anything longer than that and you start losing rankings. So you don't want to do that, because then when you get restocked, you have to go through all that all over again. So what they typically do is raise the price to slow them down. Now, if you are looking at sourcing this product during that time, or they may just have raised their price for some other reason, but most of the time it's in that situation to slow down sales, and it happens a lot. So it has happened to me at least 2 times, maybe even 3, but 2 times that I can remember off the top of my head, where I was like, wow, this is a great opportunity. And by the time, of course, typical, Chris fashion, is I would get it, source it, go through all that, get it here, and probably, a week before it lands, they're down to like $14, down to my cost. So anyway, this is how it works. I will stop rambling now, but you can grab the ASIN, so let's do that, and then you can jump over to Trendster and crank that up, and when you get in there, come on, there we go. You just drop the ASIN in and you hit start, and what it does is it pulls up the price history, which is invaluable. So now, this is a pool float, this is a seasonal product. Obviously, they're not going to sell as many during the winter here as they are in the summer, so that's why their price is higher. But if this was an evergreen product, which is what I recommend you go after, because they sell year round, and you were to see a chart like this, then this would be a huge red flag, because as you can see here, from December to December through May, they're kind of all over the board. But 3 months, get rid of that. Oh, here's an even bigger screen. For 3 months straight, they're at right around $12. So if you can't sell it for that and make some kind of profit, then you're going to be, this is not going to make any money for you for at least 3 months. So that's what this tool does basically in a nutshell. So this is something you want to run on every single product, because if not, you can really get burnt. So this tool is hugely valuable in my opinion. Excuse me, in my opinion. So let's move on to the next one. So the next one we have here is Cerebro, and what this does is this is a reverse ASIN lookup, and what that means is you can plug an ASIN. Let's just go with the same one again because I already have it in here, and let's hit enter. And what it's going to do, I'm going to go ahead and load this from history because I did this earlier to make it a little bit faster. What it does is it pulls all the keywords that this particular product is ranked for. Now, if you remember earlier, I told you both of these tools had a keyword tool where you can go in and kind of put what you think the keywords are, and it spits out a bunch of, you know, related keywords, seed keywords, and you know, gives you a lot of great ideas. But it doesn't pull everything, and so what happens is a lot of times your competitors are ranked for keywords that you have no idea even exist. And so what this does is this goes out and finds all of the keywords that they are ranked for. So, you know, I didn't look, but I can almost guarantee you that, you know, some of these keywords, especially with brand names in them, are not going to come up when you run these keyword searches. So, you know, this gives you valuable information and valuable keywords to add, you know, either into your listing or your pay-per-click campaigns, so that you can get a lot more sales. So this will make you a lot of money down the road, and it is a really great tool to have because it gives you a lot of extra keywords and sales that you wouldn't have got otherwise. So that is it for the Cerebro. That's what that does. The next one is the keyword tracker. This is really important because when you're trying to get ranked for keywords, you know, you don't want to have to go to Amazon every day and type in, you know, 50 keywords and see what your ranking is and log it in a spreadsheet. I mean, that is an absolute nightmare. So what this does, I'm not going to click on it because it's going to show all my products, which I don't want you to see. Sorry. But, you know, we have it all set up so every day it goes out. Actually, it'll actually check every hour if you want it to. And it'll check your keyword rankings, and then it'll show you a nice little graph so you can see if your efforts of trying to rank are working or not and what you need to work on. So great tool. And then it also has an index checker. This gets a little more advanced. I won't get into that, but when you're trying to get ranked for keywords, one of the things that you have to find out if it's, you know, if this is not working, like if you put a keyword in that you really want to get ranked for and you're like, you know, 100 or 300, or you're not even found at all, you need to go over here and use this index checker. It'll tell you if Amazon's even indexing you for that. But anyway, that's it for that. Scribbles is a listing optimizer where you can go in and create your listing. And actually, I lost that in here. Yep, there we go. Jungle Scout has the same thing where you can go in and build a listing. So that is not exclusive to Helium 10. Both of them have that. And then the next thing is the alerts. What this does a couple of things. If you've never sold on Amazon, this might be a little scary, but there's two things that will happen to you eventually. I'd probably say with it almost 90% certainty. You will get a hijacker eventually at some point where somebody jumps on your listing and takes the buy box from you for a cheaper price, and a lot of times you don't know it for several days. And I won't get in too in depth into that, but what happens is you start losing, depending on how popular your product is. I mean, you could be losing hundreds of dollars a day. And you know what this does, you can set up alerts. It'll tell you instantly when a hijacker, you know, jumps on your listing and starts siphoning off some of your sales. It also monitors your product listings. This is the other scary thing, is that Amazon will go in sometimes and they'll just completely change your title, change your category, you know, without your consent. You know, they just do what they want to do, and this will let you know when that happens. You can contact them and get it changed back. So that's how that works. So let's move on to the Misspellinator. Okay, so the Misspellinator, in my opinion, is the most underrated tool in this suite. You don't really hear a lot about it, but this is actually my secret weapon. In fact, I hate to even talk about it because I have gotten such a competitive advantage with this tool that it's just unreal. And I can tell you right now from you know, guaranteed stats because I look at them that this tool makes me thousands of dollars a year in sales. And let me show you how that works. So I'm going to share it because hopefully, there's millions of products out there. So hopefully you don't sell the same thing I do and do the same thing. That's why I don't show you my products, but you can do this with any product on Amazon. And let me show you how cool this is. So once again, let's go back to the same example we have been doing of pool float. So whenever you're running, whenever you're running pay-per-click ads, which you have to do when you're an Amazon seller, you have to run pay-per-click. Well, I mean, technically you don't have to, but you're missing out on thousands of dollars in sales. But here's what happens. Let me actually, let's jump over to Magnet first and let's run a keyword search once again for pool. Let's say you had a pool float and you wanted to rank for this keyword. Well, if we do our search and we load this from history, we're just going to pull this same information we pulled up earlier. And let's go by search volume, right? Okay. So as you can see, pool floats is your main keyword, and there is 344,000, approximately 344,000 people a month searching for pool floats. So that is a massive keyword, right? However, here's where the party ends. Sponsored ASINs. There are 435 products, sellers that are bidding on this keyword. So I can guarantee you this keyword is through the roof. It will probably never be profitable ever in history. So same thing here with pool toys. So this is what happens. The Amazon market has definitely gotten more competitive and more saturated than it used to be, but you just have to have a competitive advantage. And so in this case, everybody's going to be bidding on these good keywords, so they're not going to work out. But anyway, keep that number in mind, 344,000. But now let's go back over to the Misspellinator. Okay, and let's put in our word, which you want it to check both of them. And obviously you want to check all the words in your keyword. So we are going to click find misspellings. And so what this is going to do is it's going to go out and it's going to search Amazon for these words, and it's going to see what the misspellings are. It's going to check the misspelling, all the variations that people type in when they misspell these keywords. And then what it's going to do is it's going to give us some numbers on how many times that happens on average. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so here's the first misspelling that we have. And as you can see, 37% of all those searches type in poo float. They leave off the L, which is kind of funny, but childish humor, sorry. But that's what happens here. Now, it says that Amazon autocorrects, and you should know what autocorrect is. I'll show you an example of that in just a minute. But what you want to do is you always want to check these results, because the only downside to this tool is I've found in many cases it tells you that Amazon does not autocorrect for this when it really does. So let's run these real quick. So poo float would be the first one that you'd want to check. So let's go over and check that. Okay, so as you can see here, it says 1 through 48 of 10,000 results for pool float, and it says showing results for pool float. So it does auto correct in this case. So Helium 10 was wrong, and so it would be worthless to bid on this because Amazon does auto correct when they know, hey, people typed that in wrong, okay, this is what you meant, and they show it. So that wouldn't be worth anything. So let's go back and let's take a look at the next one that they say they don't autocorrect for, which is pook float. That's only 9% of the time, but that was a big number, so 9% could be a lot. So let's run that. So once again, Helium 10 was wrong on that. Now let's look at the last one, and the last one they say is float, F-L-O-T-E. So let's take a look at that. That is our last hope here. So pool. All right, so we put in pool float and look what happened. It says, did you mean pool float? It is showing results for pool float, so it did not auto correct for this. So this is a golden nugget right here. And now, as you can see, somebody has figured this out and they are bidding on it. However, these bids are going to be super cheap because I can guarantee you that they're probably not bidding much, and there's not going to be anybody else in here bidding it. You're going to be able to get super cheap clicks. And I can tell you that the majority of times when I find these keywords that have misspellings in them that are valid, there's almost, I'd say 90% of the time nobody's bidding on these keywords, so you get super cheap clicks. So that click that would have cost you, $2 a click for pool floats, you could probably get this for like, 20 cents or less. And the reason that's so powerful is, you remember, it said 344,000 searches a month, and 27%, was it? Yeah, 27% of the time these people type this in. So that's about 90,000 searches a month estimated that use this. So, that's all your traffic. And I can tell you from experience looking at my pay-per-click reports that this works. And like I said, I make thousands of dollars a year. This one tool alone is definitely worth the investment. You will make it back, trust me, on just this alone, not to mention everything else. So that is it for the Misspellinator. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the last tool that is exclusive to Helium 10 that Jungle Scout does not have is the Refund Genie, and this one is also huge. Once again, I don't mean to say the same thing, but even if this was the only tool in this suite, it would probably be worth the cost, depending on how much volume that you do. And here is why. This is another scary thing that if you haven't been selling on Amazon for a while, and you haven't experienced this, then like I said, this might be a little scary, but Amazon loses your inventory, damages your inventory, and all kind of crazy things, all the time. And if you do not go back through your reports and find these refunds that you are due, because sometimes Amazon will give them to you, they'll figure it out and they'll give you the reimbursement automatically, and a lot of times they don't. And if you don't go back and reconcile all the information, you're dependent on how many products and how much sales you're doing. I mean, that could be thousands of dollars a year that you're losing from Amazon. So, and if you figure it out and just let them know and submit the information, they'll give you the refund most of the time. So, here's what's nice about that is that going through all of that, all those reports is an absolute nightmare. So what the Refund Genie does is you just click on it and it will calculate your refunds. It'll go through and do all that for you, and then you can just download this report and submit that report to Amazon. So they make it super easy. Believe me, this saves you tons of time and probably finds things that you would miss otherwise if you didn't know what you were looking for. And as you can see, just over the last 18 months, we've gotten back almost $14,000. So this is is pretty huge. And then currently they owe us, it looks like, around $724. So I can guarantee you, now we sell a lot of products, but even if you only sold one product, I can guarantee you that Amazon is going to damage some of that, and you're going to be due at least $200 or $300 a year. So this alone will equate to, even if you're just a tiny seller with one product, you're probably going to be getting back at least $25 a month. So that is something that you have to factor in here. So this is a fantastic tool that that will get you back quite a bit of money. So that's it for that. Let's go on to the pricing now. Helium 10 is, this platinum plan is all you need, really. It's $97 a month, and what it does is it gives you access, to all those tools that I just showed you. And Jungle Scout pricing is going to be really, when you're just starting out, you really only need this basic plan of $39 a month. But here's one thing that I actually forgot to go over earlier that you definitely need to consider, because you look at this and you're like, okay, that's what, about $57 a month difference. That's quite amount of difference. But once again, just this Refund Genie alone is finding $120 a month for us. So that's something to consider. I mean, you may not, even if you don't do the volume we do, but I would venture to say that even if you only have one or two products, you're probably, entitled to at least $300 a year minimum, because Amazon is going to lose some of your stuff and mess it up. So, I can almost guarantee you're going to get back at least $25 a month from that. So that's something you got to consider. And then one more tool that I forgot to go over was Helium 10 also has a profits tool. And what that is, when you get your payouts from Amazon, they just give you this lump sum and you have absolutely no idea, how profitable you are. So you don't know, what were your fees, what were your product costs, what were your pay-per-click costs, what did you net after all that. You have to get some kind of tool that's going to help you with that. And normally what people did before Helium 10 came out with profits, which they just came out with a couple of months ago, is they were using managed by stats. I would say, at least probably 95% of Amazon sellers was using managed by stats, because that's what it did. It went in and pulled all that information. You put in all your product costs and it takes that out. And so that's what, people use, but it's $50 a month. So, you have to pay separately for that. So if you, go with the Jungle Scout deal, then you're gonna have to pay for another tool to break down those profits for you, so you actually know whether you're making money or not. So that is something to consider. So really, you're going to be at $89 a month, at that point. So now you're probably talking an $8 difference, and for all those tools and all that extra money you're going to find, it's actually going to be a better value to go with Helium 10, in my opinion. So that is just my opinion. You can take all this information and make your own decision, obviously, but the good folks at Helium 10 did give us a discount. Jungle Scout has not done that, so I'm going to throw that down there. If you do want to go with Helium 10, all you got to do is enter the code FLA for Fastlane Academy when you go there and check out, and then use the link that we have below, and then they'll give you 50% off your first month. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, make sure you like and subscribe. Drop a comment below. We put in a lot of time and effort making these videos for you, so that's how we pay the bills. So if you could do that, we would greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you